Hi, it's Adrian here, and in this brief video I'm going to explain an important component of setting your trading goals, and that is drawdown depth and duration. Now it's really important when you're designing your trading system and also setting your portfolio risk management parameters that you have a clear view on how much drawdown you're willing to tolerate and how long in between new equity highs, or the drawdown duration, that you're willing to suffer through. Now all trading systems, all trading approaches will have drawdown. Nothing is more certain than that. But what we can do when we set our goals right up front before designing our system is set the parameters that we're comfortable with, so that when we design a system we know that they're the goals that we're working towards, and when our system is complete it should meet those drawdown parameters, so that when we're trading live and we go into a drawdown, we're comfortable with how deep it is and how long that drawdown lasts. So let me explain with a brief simple picture. Let's imagine this is our equity curve. So equity curve is just basically the equity balance in our portfolio, and it changes over time. As we take trades, as our trades move around, the value of our account fluctuates, and hopefully, assuming we've designed a good system and we're managing our risk appropriately, increases steadily over time. So firstly, obviously, when you're designing your trading system, you need to set your goal for your overall return at a level that you're comfortable with, because there's no point trading if you can make the same amount of money or similar money with less risk somewhere else. I mean, if you're only going to make a couple of percentage points a year in return, you may as well leave your money in a term deposit in the bank and have no volatility. So the first part of setting our trading objectives is a return that we're comfortable with. But just at least as importantly is setting our tolerances around the volatility of our portfolio. So you see here that at several points in our equity curve we have a drawdown. Now a drawdown is just the difference between an equity high and a subsequent equity low. And this happens because you have losing trades, because trades fluctuate as you wait for the trade to mature, and so your overall equity curve in your portfolio goes up and down. So you can see three drawdowns on this diagram here. Now there's a couple of different considerations when we're thinking about drawdowns in terms of setting our trading goals. The first is the drawdown depth. And usually when we're talking about drawdown depth, we're talking about the percentage drop from the high point in our equity to the low point in our equity. Now if you're making, say your annual return target is 20% per year, but the drawdown that you're getting in your system is 50% per year, then it's probably not a very good system, or certainly not a very good trade-off, because you're putting up with a lot of volatility to get that return that you're targeting. Now if your return target is say 10% a year, and your drawdown that you're getting through your trading system is only 2% per year, then you've got a much better risk-return profile in your trading system. So the amount of return you're targeting and the drawdown depth that you're willing to tolerate are two trading goals that really need to go hand in hand when you're setting your objectives. Now, what is a reasonable relationship between your return and the drawdown that you're willing to tolerate? Well, I mean, if you're aiming for a ratio of 1-to-1, so if you made, say, 20% return per year, and in order to achieve that, you had to put up with the occasional 20% drawdown, then that 1-to-1 ratio is a pretty good starting point. Anything less than that, and you know that you're risking a lot to make the returns that you're targeting. Now I'm not saying this is ideal or this is acceptable even, but when you're first starting out building a trading system, if you're trying to make 10% a year and you're trying to do that with a trading system that has less than, say, a couple of percent drawdown, then you're going to have a really hard time finding a system that does that. As your trading skills and your experience get better and better and better, your return to risk profile can improve. As a starting point, I'd be aiming to get to this 1-to-1 threshold as a bare minimum in order to make something tradable. Now, the next consideration, in addition to the drawdown depth, is actually the drawdown duration. What do I mean by duration? The duration of a drawdown is the amount of time from one equity high to when you exceed that equity high after the drawdown is finished. Now, some trading systems, so for example, if you were trading long only in the stock market, sometimes you can have quite long equity drawdown durations, because sometimes the market is just in a bear market. And if you're long only, then you're going to have to wait out that bear market for the next good long side trade to come through and bring you up to this new equity high. Now, I always like to start by helping people set their objectives first rather than worrying about the system. And the reason I do that is because if your drawdown duration, if you needed to make a new equity high every single month, then the type of system that you need, the type of risk management and so on is very different than if you're okay if you make a new equity high every 6 to 12 months. Now, that sounds worse than it is. If you were making $200,000 a year and that was more than you needed to live on, and you went through a 6-month period where you didn't actually make a new high, and then towards the end of the year you made a bunch of money. If you were thinking about your returns in annual terms, then a long drawdown duration is acceptable. But if you're living month to month and you're taking money out of your trading account to feed your family, then you're probably going to want a much shorter drawdown duration. And so setting the depth and the duration targets in your trading goals is very important. It's a hugely important step in the process of designing and fitting your trading system and your trading strategy to you. So that's drawdown depth and duration as it relates to returns. There's many other aspects of trading goals that you need to consider, but for me, this one is a really important one, just to set your mind straight and make sure that when you start developing and researching your trading systems, you know exactly what you're working towards. So that's all for now. Trade well, and I'll see you in the next video.